Not a lot is known about early history of Leeds, except for some Bronze Age and Roman archaeological sites in the vicinity, like out here. Not this though, we're at the 1152 Abbey ruins, which is pretty cool. But before that, the area of Leeds was associated with the Brigantes tribe, with some small Roman villages nearby, but not the major city of modern day York was the major Roman Empire city. They did find like a bridge on the river down here a little ways, a Roman bridge, but other than that, not a lot is known. It was heavily forested, all of Leeds, including the center of the modern city down this way. The name Leeds likely derives from Loids, which is the Cumbrian language of the Celtics that came in after the Romans left in the 400s. So a Celtic kingdom called Elmet was in this area from the 400s to about 527. Somewhere around here is believed to be their capital, but there's no evidence of it. They were post-Roman Christian Celtics, which is interesting. They lived in the forest around here. It was always forest, and not a lot is known about them. So the Saxons came in from their areas in Germany, and Anglo-Saxons conquered the Celtics. And the village is first mentioned on the north side of the river around 730 AD. Nobody knows where though. Somewhere around the monastery it must have existed, but it was just a real small settlement. Some stone crosses have been discovered from those times, and there's evidence of several Anglo-Saxon villages all in the Greater Leeds area, dotting the landscape. But mostly it was still forested, not heavily inhabited. 1086, at the time of the Norman conquest and their push north from the south, they took over this area, and it was largely made into agricultural lands. William the Conqueror gave a vast tract of this area to one of his friends to control from 14 miles to the south, Pontifict Castle. So, this gets into this place where we're at now, Kirkstall ruins. There's some of it right there, old stone. So in 1147, a group of Catholic monks came here and set up shop, and they built this in 1152, Kirkstall Abbey, slightly west of the modern city of Leeds. Took a little 20-minute bus ride to get here. The ruins are still here to this day. Pretty amazing old church. So it was an abbey, Catholic, of course, till 1539, till the Reformation, Church of England, and it fell into ruin after that. And yeah, man, it was a huge and glorious place, it looks like. Just a roofless building now. Still though, Leeds was still a small town. This was the biggest thing around, really. Right over there is the River Aire. So in 1207, after this abbey was built, Leeds, L-E-D-E-S, Leeds, maybe it was called, was chartered. It was a small community that took advantage as being a crossroads between York and Chester. See, I love when the modern trains go by. That train probably going from York to maybe Manchester. I can't see it anymore. Anyways, this area was a crossroads. The biggest cities of the time were York, a little bit to the north of here, and Chester, way down that way. So people would be coming in between, and this was like kind of a stopping point. So there was a small community, sold them goods or whatever. They're actually known for their wool here. They had many sheep farms. Grow the wool on the sheep, shear it off, process it into a bunch of clothes and other things. That's what this area was known for. So growth was slow for centuries of this town. It's interesting to me that other than London, the great industrial and large cities of England, like Leeds, Manchester, Liverpool, they started out really as tiny little settlements, little villages. Anyways, more on the more modern history next, from the Kirkstall 1152. Alright, I just wanted to jump in and show this side how massive this building was. Built 1152. I guess this is a quarter of the original size. And we talked to a local, which was really cool. He said a lot of the monks, they were from France. They came in after the Normans, took over England, William the Conqueror, and built these massive places. A bunch of monks lived here in this huge monastery. It's crazy. And so Henry VIII, 1539, 1540, dissolved the Catholic Church. What he did was he tore the roofs off of these places. That's why a lot of these ruins, like this, have no roof. So the monks couldn't live there anymore. And also he did it to take their treasures, like the lead and the wood and the gold. He basically robbed them. It was crazy. Kicked them out of the country. And then later on, the people of Leeds, as the city grew in the probably 16, 17, 1800s, they came here and picked apart the stones and used for their houses. So luckily there's some of it left, but yeah, it's interesting history. And right here is the main river, the River Aire, next to the monastery ruins. Yeah, man, the history of Leeds. So, like we said, Leeds was a very small community of villages most of its history. Only later, with industrialization becoming larger and important, did Leeds become the city it is right now. Historically, more significant sized cities like York and Chester in the medieval times were more important with their castles and earls and big churches and storied history. But as industry started going, shipping routes and manufacturing capability won out over those old castles and powerful churches and towns up here, making those smaller, and cities like Liverpool, Manchester, Leeds rise up as some of the biggest cities now in England. But still, where we're at now in history, 1626, it was still a small town, but it was finally incorporated into the county of York. It was known for its wool and sheep farms. So most of this area, it was once forested, but then was a lot of farmland, sheep farms, and completely transformed just 400 years later. It's amazing. During the English Civil War, a loyalist knights stationed troops and built defenses in the city. 1643. Parliamentary force retook the city, and all the defenders became prisoners, and he got them to switch sides. There's a historical note there. A Puritan regime took over after this. Plagues hit the city very hard, also in the 1600s. Another thing that happened, 1646, Charles I was held prisoner in Leeds after surrendering to the Scottish. Alright, so let's get into the modern history, which what Leeds is all about. So around 1700, the city grew as leading wool manufacturer trading in Europe, which, blankets, clothes, many items come from wool for warmth, like the cold English winters. 1710, a trading hall like this one, smaller though, was built for different people to trade their goods coming from near and far. And into the 1800s, with wool halls growing up with the start of the Industrial Revolution, which is what made Leeds and this entire region boom up. The population began to swell around 1800. 1816, the Leeds-Liverpool Canal was finished. 1834, the Leeds connected to the railroad, new railroad system in the area. 1862, this building was built, the corn exchange. Many manufacturing, chemicals, steam-powered machines, and more took place. Nearby, mined coal was shipped into Leeds on the first ever commercial steam-powered railway to fuel the industry here in the 1800s. So Leeds then made heavy contributions of shell processing and others, war machines, and during World War I, 19 teens. And also, there was many soldiers that perished from the city. One of the most in all of England, actually. One decimated local regiment suffered heavy losses in the awful Battle of the Somme. All from Leeds. Pretty sad stuff. World War II, though, the city escaped the worst of the Blitz. There was only a few bombings, unlike some other places nearby, which had more strategic value. So yeah, like most of these industrial towns after the war, the old industries began to decline, and later offices were built up, like for exchange. For example, at the Corn Exchange, it's like a little mall now with some. There's a cool store in there, Hip Hop Historians, actually, a vinyl shop. I'm gonna check it out later, maybe. And you know, other jobs cropped up, and now Leeds is known as one of 8 of UK's leading cities. Leeds. That's the history of Leeds. Leeds, UK. England.